As you may know, I'm a big fan of the great film of Freaky Friday. But I found out there was this one film that came out that was sort of similar to it, except it involved guys, though, and involved a magical type of kind of a skull that caused well, a little bit of a reaction to swap one's body to the other, or something like that. So here it is. This is my review of the film from the 80s, the late 80s, that is, Vice Versa. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1988 fantasy comedy flick Vice Versa, released by Columbia, directed by Brian Gilbert, starring Judge Reinhold, Fred Savage, and Swoozie Kurtz. This is the fourth film adaptation overall of the 1882 novel the same name by F. Anstey, following the British films that were released many years prior, three of them in 1916, 1937, and 1948, which I've never seen hit these. Anyway, this film was released on March 11th, 1988, and was a modest hit. So, anyway, let's get into the story. In Thailand, a pair of thieves steal an ancient skull from a Buddhist monastery. Marshall Seymour is vice president of a Chicago department store. He is divorced and has an 11-year-old son named Charlie for whom he has little time. He and his girlfriend Sam visit Thailand to purchase exotic merchandise. At the same time, an art thief named Turk must find a way to smuggle an ornate skull out of the country. He places it one of Marshall's purchases so that he and his accomplice, Lillian Brookmeyer, can make a switch later. When Marshall returns home, he takes Charlie for a few days while his mother, Robin, and stepfather, Cliff, are on vacation. While holding the skull, they wish they could be in each other's bodies. Well, the skull possesses magical powers, and they suddenly find that they have switched bodies. The two realize they must live out the rest. Well, not the rest, but their lives as each other. Marshall heads to school while Charlie assumes his father's role as vice president. Marshall and Charlie visit the museum and talk with Professor Kirschner, who explains to the true nature of the skull and wishes to show it to a lama before returning it to them. Robin arrives home earlier than expected and is furious at the sight of Marshall as Charlie drinking a martini. After failing to reacquire the skull, the thieves embark on a mission to steal it. Charlie learns from Marshall's boss, Avery, that he has called a meeting to pull the plug on Marshall's business. He collects Marshall at school, and after purchasing a device that will allow them to communicate with each other, Marshall listens in on the boardroom meeting and instructs Charlie on what to say. However, Turk kidnaps Marshall, leaving Charlie to fend for himself in the boardroom. Now I'm going to go to the last bit of this film and the ending. You know, procedure. Well, I think you know what I'm going to say. You have 5 seconds to stop this video, go to the description box below, and fast forward to the time below to avoid the ending spoilers immediately. If you have seen this movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. With Turk and Lillian holding Marshall for ransom, Charlie retrieves the skull from the llama. He then exchanges it for Marshall. However, he and Charlie rush to reacquire the skull so that they can switch themselves back. They catch the thieves just after they have accidentally switched bodies, and they take the skull back, leaving Turk and Lillian in their new bodies as punishment. The police arrest Charlie for possible kidnapping, so Cliff posts his bail. Marshall asks Sam to take him home so that he can give Charlie a present. On the way, he proposes marriage. Charlie and Marshall touch the skull, switching back into their own bodies. Marshall then goes to see Sam while Charlie listens to their conversation about the proposal. Though initially caught off guard, Marshall relents and embraces the proposal that Charlie made for him. End of story. So, what did I think of Vice Versa? Although I've only seen this film twice, I never knew this even existed. I must say it's kind of an underrated film. Not really one of the best films, but even so, it still did alright. It was a modest success, making 13 million in the US against its against or on its $10 million budget. The film received mixed reviews upon its release. The Chicago Sun-Times, well, opened with its review courtesy of Roger Ebert saying, "Who would have guessed it? Who would have been able to predict that the plot of one of last year's worst movies could produce one of this year's most endearing comedies? Here at last is proof that the right actors can make anything funny, or perhaps it is proof that the wrong actors cannot. The name of the movie is Vice Versa, and when they made it last year, it was called Like Father, Like Son, which of course that was released the previous year, drew TriStar and starred Dudley Moore and Kirk Cameron, which I've also seen, but I have yet to review that. Now, movie historian Leonard Maltin agreed as well, saying not too big, which also was released the previous year, but better than it ought to be. Both Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage appeared to be having a whale of a time in their roles. Michael Wilmington of the LA Times was less enthusiastic, writing that it may be a better film than Like Fire Like Sun, largely because of the direction and Savage's performance, but still a disappointment. British director Brian Gilbert showed tremendous talent in his 1985 film Sharma and Beyond, which he also co-wrote. Here, producer-writers Ian Fresnay and Dick Clement give us mostly a collection of obvious gags traipse, traipsing wheezingly from one point to another, he added. Vice versa has its moments, as he added. Occasionally there's a genuinely funny scene or an affecting interchange between Reinhold and Savage. Yet the invention in either of these Father Son Switch movies is dubious. As high concept or low comedy, their movies probably only a mother could love. The New York Times' Janet Maslin wrote that luck doesn't get any worse than it has for this film, the twin of an identically plotted film released only a few months previously. Originality isn't a factor for either this or Like Father Like Son, since they both owe a good deal to the earlier Freaky Friday. But timeliness undoubtedly is. All things being equal, neither of these films is appreciably. I'm getting tongue tied. Appreciably better than the other. The difference isn't one of quality, but of style. Like Father Like Son had Dudley Moore, who brought a certain sly sophistication to the role of a grown man with the mind of a small boy, while vice versa, which opens today at Lowe's Astor Plaza as it came out in other theaters, has Judge Reinhold, who concentrates more on the innocent silliness of the situation. Both of them have found gentle humor in the plight of a grown man sent off to junior high school while his carefree, irresponsible, career wrecking son feels for him on the job. However, there were some reasonable reviews from international critics. Rotten Tomatoes has this as score of 50%. So anyway, I am going to say this film kind of feels a little underrated, but I can understand. At least I feel like I like this more than Like Father, Like Son. Affirmative on that. David Shire does the score for the film, and it's not too bad. While Brian Gilbert's direction was reasonable enough, and the story's fine too, but I gotta give credit to its main stars, Judge Reinhold, who has done numerous films before this, played Marshall, and I'm saying he's good. While Charlie is played by Fred Savage, who that same year would actually make. Well, this was right about the time he actually made it in playing Kevin on TV's The Wonder Years. They were both really good. We also have Corinne Bohrer as Sam and Swoozie Kurtz as Lillian Brookmeyer or Turk, but credited as Tina. And David Proval played Turk slash Lillian Brookmeyer. Yeah, I would have said the switch, but I think you understand this and why we have William Prince as Stratford Avery and Beverly Archer, who you may remember from Mama's Family. She was actually on there at that time, and of course she would go on to appear on Major Dad, which I'll be talking about later on this month, as Jane Luttrell, which happens to be Charlie's teacher. Well, one of his teachers. So anyway, vice versa. Well, it's not really one of the best films. I still prefer Freaky Friday, but hey, I would rather watch this over like Fire Like Sun any day. But anyway, I think this film is pretty underrated. Would I recommend it? Well, I think I'd recommend you give this a one-time watch if you're curious and what have you. It's available on physical media and what have you. It might be. It's available to stream. I did watch it on Tubi twice, so that's about it. All I can tell you about this film. So, Vice Versa is worth looking into for a for a one-time watch. So, what did you think of Vice Versa? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel. Give them to know me. Maybe they like to be a part of my Big D Nation. And you can share my vids with your friends if you'd like. And join me next time when I do my Saturday morning TV log of Adam Ant. So if you like this, check out my reviews of these other films. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of the 2003 remake of Freaky Friday. Or go to the upper right-hand corner and see my review for actually another film that Columbia actually released the same year this film did, and it's another underrated film, and that's The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking. Or if you would like maybe another type of a fun-filled bit of comedy and what have you, you can see what came out the next year from Columbia in my re-review of Ghostbusters 2 from 1989. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, on the Big D saying, see ya.